This is a murder mystery that was solved by an army officer. The details of this case are truly terrifying. Welcome back to another episode. On December 27, 2006, in the community of Glen Rio, British Columbia, a woman named Sabrina Dodez went missing. She was last seen at her home in the morning when her husband, Jason, left for work. That same day around noon, she was captured on camera at her local supermarket. A little while later, she was spotted at her workplace where she worked as a hairdresser, but that would be the last time anyone would see her alive. Sabrina's family became concerned when she didn't show up for Christmas Day dinner. Her husband said he had no idea where she was, but he agreed to help look for her. When they still hadn't found her 2 days later, he reported her missing. He told the police that something wasn't right because his wife never missed out on spending time with her family during the holiday season. Furthermore, she had left her purse, medication, and cell phone behind, which was completely out of character. As part of the investigation, the police searched Sabrina's house and found nothing unusual except for a few muddy spots on the floor. They asked her husband about these and he claimed that they were made by their dog. There were also some muddy handprints in the kitchen sink, but again, he had an explanation for those too. He said that he had washed his hands in the sink before noticing the muddy water dripping onto the floor. The officers noticed that the footprints in the sink looked nothing like his. They were much smaller, but instead of pursuing this line of questioning further, they let it go. It was until 2 months later that the RCMP brought in a forensic anthropologist, who finally found something in the house that stood out. There was a small fragment of a human bone in the laundry room. It turned out to be a piece of Sabrina's skull. Her teeth matched the dental records and she was officially declared dead. Now the case had become a murder investigation. The police searched the area around the house for more remains and discovered a few bones hidden in the bushes. Even though they had found physical evidence that Sabrina had been murdered, there were still zero leads in the case. This is one of the most frustrating things about being a detective. You have a killer's DNA or maybe fingerprints, but you can't match them to a suspect. It makes finding the culprit extremely difficult. In cases like this, detectives often need to get creative. Sometimes that means thinking outside of the box. In other situations, it means going back to the beginning and starting over. That's what a man named Warrant Officer Garth Cornett did. Corbett was a Canadian Armed Forces member who had recently moved to the area. He wasn't working on the case. Instead, he was learning how to ski. However, when he heard about the strange details surrounding Deborah's disappearance, he couldn't help but wonder if her husband was telling the truth. He decided to check online real estate listings and see if he could buy the couple's house. Just as he was about to give up, he found the house was being sold and the listing even included pictures of the interior. That's when Corbett made a shocking discovery. In one of the photos, he noticed what looked like bloodstains on the carpet in the spare bedroom. Unfortunately, the photo was blurry and he couldn't be sure, so he decided to take a gamble. He bought the house. When the previous owner left and he was finally able to walk through the rooms freely, he pulled out a flashlight and shone it on the spot where he thought he saw the blood. Sure enough, when he examined it closely, it turned out to be a large bloodstain. It was dark, dried blood, almost as if it had been there for a long time. He immediately called the police and told them what he found. Now the investigators had a new lead. They took a closer look at the home and discovered several suspicious items. These included 2 buckets found in the basement, one of which contained cleaning supplies. They also found a shovel in the garage that had what appeared to be traces of blood on it. And finally, they found a stain on the deck that also looked like blood. To confirm their suspicions, the police brought in a forensic team. An examination of the body found in the spare bedroom confirmed that it was indeed human blood. Furthermore, the blood matched Sabrina's DNA. The police now had strong reason to believe that her husband was involved in her death. They brought him in for questioning. At first, he denied having any involvement in his wife's disappearance. Then he changed his story. He told the police that he and Sabrina had gotten into a fight. He pushed her and she hit her head on the floor. He panicked and hid her body under the carpet. Corbett, who had followed the police into the house, couldn't believe what he was hearing. The husband's story made no sense. If he had killed his wife in self-defense, why would he hide her body under the carpet? Why not just put her in the backyard? Thinking quickly, Corbett asked the man why he would leave buckets in the basement if he was trying to hide the evidence. The man replied that he was planning to clean the bloodstain out of the carpet. Corbett pressed him further and asked why he would keep a bloody shovel in the garage if he was trying to cover up the crime. The man had no answer for that. At that point, he confessed to murdering his wife and led the police to her remains. An autopsy showed that she had been hit on the head multiple times. The police charged the man with second-degree murder, but he pleaded not guilty. He argued that the evidence against him was weak because the blood in the house could have been planted there and there were no witnesses. The prosecution knew that the only way to get a conviction was to prove that the blood really was his wife, as thankfully. They had Corbett to thank for that. Because of his keen eye, the blood was collected and analyzed. Not only did it confirm that Sabrina had been murdered in the house, but it also proved that the killer had tried to clean up the scene. With the new evidence, the prosecution easily won the case and the man was convicted of second-degree murder. During his trial, it came to light that he had taken out a $250,000 life insurance policy on his wife 3 weeks before she disappeared. He was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years. He became eligible in 2021, but the Parole Board of Canada refused to grant him freedom. The board felt that he was still a threat to public safety and ordered that he remain incarcerated. He will be eligible for another review in 2023 for the family. Justice was finally served, but it was too late for Sabrina. She would never get to rest in peace. As for Corbett, he was hailed a hero. Although he didn't catch the killer himself, his actions were instrumental in securing a conviction. After the trial ended, he returned the house to the rightful owners. What do you think of this case? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I've been your host. See you next time.